Morning students. Today we are going to discuss the third unit. Before that, we have to recall the second unit. In this second unit, Prose I Can't Climb Trees Anymore. It was written by Ruskin Bond. I Can't Climb Trees Anymore is an exciting short story by Ruskin Bond. The story underlines a very basic feature of our lives. Searching the memories of old days by going back to the places of childhood and finding those people who once were part of our everyday life. It brings back the nostalgia that has been forgotten with the passage of time. Bond comes down to the city of Dara from Missouri. He understands that many of his friends might have moved to other cities in the pursuit of career or otherwise. He moves to his grandmother's bungalow. He had spent a lot of time with her, especially during summer vacation. After her death, the bungalow was sold to someone else. Bond doesn't know who owns it now, but he still remembers the trees. Some of them were planted by him. So, through this prose, I Can't Climb Trees Anymore, the author wants to convey the visitor had hidden a few old coins in the tree. The jackfruit tree was still there. As a boy, the visitor used to swing on the burnstile. The visitor had sold the house. The next day, a girl came out of the house. The visitor's grandfather used to sit on the stone bench, and the visitor was able to remember the music of a piano. The visitor was able to climb the jackfruit tree. The purpose of the visit of the narrator was to buy his ancestor house back. The visitor climbed over the wall easily. In the story, writer remembers his childhood and goes to his grandmother's house where he binds a boy. He introduces himself as the previous owner of the house where the boy lives. The author tells the boy his childhood stories and tells him that once he placed a cross on the tree, but as he is old now, so he cannot climb the tree now. But the boy climbs the tree and brings down the cross, but author tells him to keep it. He tells the boy that I came here to find my childhood and the cross. Yes, the author wants to enjoy his past remembering of the days. That's all. Now, poem 2, A Poison Tree. It was written by William Blake. In William Blake's A Poison Tree, there are two scenarios going on. The reader first assumes that the speaker is mad at his friend, but wait, his anger is not lost. He tells his friend about his wrath, and the wrath goes away. This first stanza shows the power of communication. In the second scenario, it tells of how the speaker is angry again, but this time it is at the enemy. He doesn't communicate to his enemy this time about his anger, and so his anger continues to grow as well as his fears. To the enemy's delight, the speaker's anger turns into a delicious looking apple. The enemy sneaks into the speaker's garden, steals the apple, and unfortunately for him, he dies from the now known poison apple. So, dear students, if you are angry with your friend, you have to convey with them that you are angry with them. So, if you are not telling, your anger will grow. So, we have to destroy our anger. That's all. So, through this poem, we can understand this the theme of the poem. Now, Second supplement reader, The Fun They Had. It was written by Isaac Asimov. He was born on 1920 and died on 1992. Was an American writer, known for his work of science fiction and popular science. He was a professor of biochemistry at Boston University, along with Robert A. Heinlein and Arthur C. Clarke. Asimov was considered one of the big three science fiction writers during his lifetime. In the story, The Fun They Had, Margie and Tommy, they are the main characters. Margie and Tommy had mechanical teachers. They were large, black and ugly. They had large black screens on which all the lessons were shown and questions were asked. These mechanical teachers had a slot in which the students had to put their homework and test papers. They had to write their answers in a punch code, and the mechanical teacher calculated the marks immediately. Margie had been given many tests in geography by the mechanical teacher, but there was no improvement in her performance. It only kept getting worse. It is for this reason the Margie's mother sent for the country inspector to find out why this was happening. The country inspector gave Margie an apple and started working on the mechanical teacher. He took it apart and then checked it. Margie had hoped that the inspector would not know how to put the mechanical teacher together again, but he managed to reassemble it. He slowed down the geography sector of the teacher because it was geared a little too quick for an average 10-year-old. Margie's classroom was next to her bedroom. Margie had regular days and hours for school every day except Saturday and Sunday. Her mother believed that learning at regular hours helped little girls learn better. So students, this story is happening in the future. The characters are Margie and Tommy. They are imagining about the past days of school students, how they are enjoying in the school buildings. So like that they are thinking. Actually, they are liking it, but it is not happening in their future times. They want it, but they couldn't get it. That's all. Through this supplement reader, we are understanding this. Welcome you all. Here, I am going to detail about some interesting topic which we should incline two aspects in us while we learn this: awareness and accountability through eco-literature. As we all know, climate change is taking place and getting worse. We need to be informed rather being ignorant, as deforestation is one of the most paramount importance to be looked into detail, as it plays vital role in climate change in order to mitigate. The poem on Killing a Tree by Jeev Patel is prominent example of how tree extends its motherly care, and also how we witness its growth from seeds to fruits in sheer pleasure through his experience. Its anchoring roots prevents us from havoc like floods, and furthermore, to say about poet is how much he is being driven towards the green movement reflects his responsibilities with his ideas and feelings towards our Mother Earth. Let us range into viewing the destructions that are being emanating from deforestation. Today, we are going to discuss the topic on killing a tree, which was written by G. Patel. G. Patel was born on 18th August 1940 in Mumbai. He is a poet, playwright, painter, actor, and doctor. His poems speak of deep concern for nature and expose men's cruelty to do it. On Killing a Tree is the volume of poems which was published by Nizam Ezekiel in Mumbai. Most of Patel's poems center on human body as he is a doctor. These are the Patel's paintings. Yes, his poems are associated with the Green Movement. And he conducts poetry workshop in Rizzi Valley School for Children. Poetry with young people introduced and edited by G. Patel. He conducted many workshops, related poems. His notable works, poems 1966, and second one, How Do You Withstand Body, 1976. Mirror Mirroring, which was published in 1991. His three plays are Princess, Savakaza, and Mr. Baram. His famous poems, Evening, Forensic Medicine, From Bombay Central, Urban, Old Man's Death. And he motivated by Tamil poet Vairamuthu's lyrics on Maram. Now we have entered the stanza 1. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crest, observing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. Here jab means a quick stab. Consuming means to use, crust, surface of earth. Leprous, covered with scales. Sprouting means a new growth on a plant. So in this first stanza, we can understand the seed grows into a tree after multiple stages of growth. Yes, you see in this picture, one by one. Totally, we have 6 pictures here. Finally, it can grow of a tree. Through this picture, a plant rises out of the earth crust. It absorbs years of air, sun rays, water to grow into a tree. A small jab of knife cannot kill a tree, although it hurts it. Yes, it can hurt by itself. Then only we can kill the tree. Difficulty in killing a tree is exposed here. Okay, you see this picture. The tree is very big. We cannot kill it by easily. A tree with strong root slopes at storms. So you see in this picture, it has very big roots under the earth. Leprous. Leprous means here refers to the bark of the tree. Hide refers to the skin of the tree, that is the bark. The barks are irregular in appearance as humans infected with leprosy appear so. Yet the leaves sprout out of it. So in this picture, you see the tree. It has the leprous within the bark of the tree. Summary of the first stanza. It tells us that killing a tree is not easy. It is very time consuming. A jab of a knife is not enough. Okay, a jab means already I told you, A tree grows straight out the earth, nourishing itself on the nutrients found in the earth along with years of sunlight, water, and air. And even though the bark looks irregular and scaly, leaf and branches sprout of it. So this is the first summary of the stanza. We can understand in this first stanza, a simple jab of the knife cannot kill a tree. Okay? And it is along with the years of sunlight, water, and air. Through that only it has growth itself. Now, stanza 2. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal. And from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which if unchecked will expand again to former size. Here, hack and chop, it means blow with axe. Heal means to become better. Curl means spiral. Twig means a small, thin branch of a tree. Miniature, it means small in size. Okay? In the second stanza, we are going to discuss about the trees, how it can grow and its processing. Blowing the branches and the trunk of the tree with an axe will not completely kill tree. So we cannot kill the tree by having axe. Even they can't create much pain to the tree. The poet uses the word kill in the poem instead of destroy, because he treats the trees as humans. Yes, the poet describes about the tree as a humans. So only he describes about kill, not as destroy. The bleeding bark will heal itself in due course of time. Okay, in the due course of time, the bleeding bark will heal and it can hurt. Even if you harm, damage, cut the branches, the miniature boughs will grow to their former stage if you leave them unattended after your brutal cut. Summary of the stanza 2. Chopping up a bough is not enough to bring a tree down. These jabs may inflict pain on the tree, but the pain is not enough to kill it. The bleeding bark, the part where it has been wounded or where a bough is chopped off, will heal with time. New green twigs will grow again. Boughs chopped off will be replaced by new boughs, which will grow into their former size. Yes, if we kill a tree, again it will grow into their former size. Stanza 3. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave. And the strength of the tree exposed the source, weight, and weight, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth. Pull out. Pull out, it means to remove. Anchoring it, it gives stability and security to the root. Snap, to make a breaking sound. Earthquake, the surface of the earth on which the foundation is laid. So some words are marked as dark. These are the hard words in this summary stanza. Summary of the stanza 3. So here you have 4 pictures. How to kill a tree. First we have to rope it and tie it and then snap it by the rope. Then finally we can pull out from the earth. It is not easy. So you see in this picture, 2 pictures, we need to pull the tree out entirely from the earth cave. Otherwise it will grow it again by itself, by its roots. When we pull out tree, the strength of the tree is exposed. The source of tree, white and wet, hidden inside the earth for years, is also exposed. So you see in this picture, it is in this source it is very white color and wet. Summary of this stanza 3. In this stanza, the poet explains how a tree could be killed. He says that the root has to be pulled out to kill a tree. The root, which is the source of a tree's life, must be pulled out of its cave in order to mortally harm the tree. By earth cave, the poet means the point deep inside the earth where the root is attached. Once they enter the life source, the root is exposed, the tree becomes weak. The source is described as white and wet, probably alluding to tree sap, which is a white liquid. Yes, within it, it has a white liquid, and also the tree becomes too weak after we pull out from the earth. Stanza 4. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, drowning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. Scorching means brown discoloration on the leaves by heat. Choking, unable to breathe freely. Twisting, to injure by bending. Tending to destroy. Withering. Okay, here you see that then the matter of scorching and choking. So scorching and choking means discoloring on the leaves. Choking means unable to breathe freely. So through this picture, you can see the tree is exposed to scorching of sun. Within the 2 pictures, the tree appears to be browning and hardening. Okay, the color is brown and it is very hard. Summary of the stanza 4. The exposed life source, which when left open to the sun and air, will be scorched due to the heat, and the air won't be able to reach the scorched places to relieve it of the heat. Slowly it will start to become brown, with all the softness fading out, leaving a hard, lifeless remainder behind. With time, it will start to wither, become dry and bent out of the stem, leaving a corpse where a tree used to be. In short, the exposure will leave the root vulnerable to all vagaries of weather, which will ultimately weaken the tree and kill it. So, in this picture, we can understand the exposed life source of tree and left open the sun and air will be scorched due to the heat, and the air won't be able to reach the scorched places to relieve it of the heat. Then it will become very dry and bent out of stem. Theme is deforestation. Deforestation, it means we are killing the tree for humans. So deforest is the theme. Pain. In this picture we can understand the tree is crying. First one you see, the tree is crying, and in the second picture the tree is very dry. It has no leaves. Throughout the poem, the tree is treated as human being. Trick of reverse psychology is used. Okay, so here author described the tree as humans. He considered it. Mood of the poem is sadness. Tone of the poem, sarcasm. Sarcasm means the use of irony to mock or convey contempt. So mood of the poem is sadness. So through this poem we have to save the trees, save the nature. We don't kill tree for the humans. Okay students, I'm going to read out the poem now. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crest, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. So hack and chop, but these alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal. And from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which if unchecked will expand again to former size. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out. Snapped out or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave. And the strength of the tree exposed, the source, white and wet, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. So in this poem, poetic devices are metaphor. Metaphor means leprous hide. Metaphor means indirect comparison. Explanation. Metaphor is a word or phrase used to describe a person or something else in a way that is different from its normal use, in order to show that the two things have the same qualities and to make the description more powerful. For example, she has a heart of stone. So here, a person or something else in a way that is different from its normal use. Alliteration. Bleeding bark, white and wet, anchoring earth. Alliteration is the use of same letter or sound at the beginning of words that are close together. As she sang a song of sixpence. Yes, okay, yes is the first letter. Those words having first letter is the same letter. Rhyme scheme. This poem has no written free words. Okay, there are rhyme scheme and the length of the lines varies. Even the stanzas are not of equal length. Poetic devices. Imagery. Here very strong imagery has been used, and it shows the growth of the tree by taking nutrients from the earth and observing sunlight, air, and water from the nature. For example, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crest, observing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. Okay, so here it is imagery. Imagery means, already I told you, shows the growth of the tree by taking nutrients. Okay, so these are the imagery. So students, thank you.